I come from Mud Pond, murky under its tangle of lily pads, dirty kitchen of smoke from wood stove and weed. I come from Fillmore, how it was before, high-rises, flatland stretched behind chain link, raised tenements, old men with watermelon trucks, and the 22 right on through. I come from Richmond by the tracks, concrete and steel, our little piece of peace wedged into its iron point. I come from Oakland, where roosters and crows talk from the back of the house to gunshots and stereos in the front. Where I'm afraid to turn on the local bad news, but grow succulent roots in clay soil and find home.
I love that book.
So I'm going to read this piece and be about it because my sister's here, and I'm going to read a couple things just because she's here. What changed when Daddy died? I gave his stuff away, just gave it. Hoarders came, first with pickup trucks, then back with trailers attached. They emptied those storage lockers of Playboy, Penthouse, Scientific American, kerosene lamps, oil paintings, sandal-making equipment from the 50s, wood boxes, cardboard boxes, more boxes. And I had it burned in a plain wood box with his old felt cowboy hat and a hand-woven sweater his ditzy girlfriend picked. Dad, lose the bimbo, we'd said, but she lost him instead. He paid on those storage lockers for 30-some years, moved all that stuff up the mountain and back down, his ball and chain. We turned his pistols into cold, hard cash, split it between us like drug dealers. All the real silver had gone to drug dealers back in the 80s, the cocaine years, and we just gave his shit away, his reason for never visiting us, never moving out west with us. His other daughter, unclaimed, heaving heavy pieces in the arms of collectors, this is how she experienced him, through his stuff. It was that or his words, and trust me, his words were even more pervasive. He was a talker, is what I'm saying. Well, these junk men, they had a big barn, a great big barn to put it all in. Said they wished they could have met him. They liked his hoarder style. Hey, I did my time clearing paths through car parts and paintings, journals, tractors, snowplows, dogs, and so many damn cats circling food bowls like weed and camel smoke yellowed the ceilings. He held on to broken pieces of his Park Avenue upbringing, reveled in his disregard of it. The mud-seasoned chaos tracked in from the dooryard, lugged in with lanterns and pea buckets to make it through the night without tiptoeing in snow, cold feet. And when he died, that's what changed. Those old rounded fingernails, a warm hand, big soft lips, cold and dead, burned up in a plain wood box, carried back to the mountain. Dumped into snow with styrofoam cups by his children and our mothers. Red nose, but not crying, not sentimental us. That's what changed. The hands and the money changed hands. "99 Luft balloons. As a child, I was given a balloon at Fava's shoe store with Mom. I accidentally let go by the car's back door. It flew from my hand, went up and up fast with my screams. High enough to see all of West Lebanon, New Hampshire, how small and flat that mall surrounded by green. How excruciating my disappointment. I can still feel the distance between us. I see everyone I care about as that balloon, rising up while I stand in a shitty parking lot, rubber boots, open mouth, tears streaming. I steel myself against that moment, save extra balloons in the pantry, soak in aloneness on the edge of my bed, ready myself for it. I carry a big fat pin to puncture red balloons before they break my heart. Runaway Collector. So I started writing when my dad died, basically, so there's a lot of dad poems. Runaway Collector. Dad always brought someone or something home. A fast driver with an eye for things on the side of the road, like the Stetson I had him cremated in. He wore that hat for 30-something years. We found it on the side of the freeway, brand new, brown felt. His mistake was those he chose to save, like John Blaze, the horse, who broke through the fence and ran miles down the road, ate all the birdseed from Dot Leisure's feeder. She called the game warden and the state police, her polyester mouth glued to the phone, her house aqua blue against pastoral green, the tacky Santa and reindeer never put away before Easter. Took hours fading into the dark dots of dusk for Dad to lasso that wild-ass horse and ride him home. One of his strays was a small brown duck, the other ducks gang raped and pecked. He scooped painted pond turtles before they were flattened into dirt road. Bear the dog ran at least 60 miles over hills and streams back to the family we got him from. My mom left soon after we moved in. Stayed long enough to clear a road up there, cut a view across state to Blue Mountain seen from the kitchen, where she cooked breakfast on the wood stove, left the remnants of scrambled eggs on the ceiling, was gone before first snowfall. The girlfriend he married, divorced, and carried on with for 20 years, a rescue. He picked her out of a tar paper shack with 2 dirty-nosed kids and multiple personalities, though I never saw even one. Life on that hill left all of us ready to run. So I'm going to read one more, just because my sister's here. One that I've never read before. Maybe it is a love story for Angel. She did love him, had dreams of him since childhood, her dream reoccurring like their affair. In her dreams, he was tall, blonder than sugar crystals, eyes so blue and wild they'd make you squint. His lips beyond Vitruvian proportion, those of an African prince on a white man. They met at a party at his pad. She was 18, tagging along with her older brother, her name Georgina, Dinny for short. Her legs anything but, and on they went, tan and elegant, brunette bob and a sparkle in her eye. He was an inferno, his blonde like white fire, a ponytailed hipster, his carpenter jeans stained to a fine finish. He spun tales of riding Little Joe under western stars in the velvety underground of New York City's bars. John Dallett was beat. He rapped the rap of the Buddhists at the Vic, turned the youngsters on with the I Ching, and ran a communication network for the scene from a bulging black leather address book. He loved books, spoke of Saline, Unamuno, and the monk, and he loved women. When the party ended, he knelt by her chair, whispered in her ear to stay, and she did. She knew him as the man in her dream, knew he was significant, but not why. So that night she did stay, lay in all those words, all that philosophizing, storytelling, and lovemaking, and left pregnant with all the blonde light of him, all the flame of nervous energy and spirit wound too tight mixed with the leggy colt of her. He saw the baby girl once after a show at the Club 47. He met the grandparents, rode horses, looked into tiny blue eyes, his own corn silk hair. Went back to Harvard Square, made sandals, smoked dope, and got carted off to the nut house, then moved to Vermont. She married a lawyer, safer bet, then moved to Africa to save the world. Later, they landed across the river from John, raised families as strangers, sisters and brothers, unknown. After divorces and well into their 40s, they tried it again. He drove to her lofts and touchy-feely parties. She made him a little sweeter, a taste softer than he'd been as a married man, but he was still flaky, smoked too much pot, and she had to move on. Before he died, they did it once more, his blood pressure medicine thwarting her best efforts, his mind consumed with his lame girlfriend and the endless caretaking she needed from him. She was broken, so he was never out of a job. But Dinny didn't need a thing she never really had. She loved him, still saw him as the young man in the dream, the knowledge seeker, wrestler of truth and substance, lover of complex science and cornball TV. In the ridiculous, he found beauty, hoarded it in small metal boxes. But he was too stagnant, stuck in a rut, spinning his wheels only to marvel at the mud's flight. When he died, she was there. The ex-wives came to the memorial, but she was there at his bedside. She knew another him, a dreamy man, light blinding as an angel's feather. It's going to be a methamphetamine kind of night, huh? All right. John has a request. It's the speed, stupid. It's the speed that ruined your life, not some girl named Julie. It's the soul-crunching depression of meth. The shit that leaves your skin cracked open, your insides too parched to bleed out. Bone rubbing bone, you wore out your gristle, you jerked that thing raw. Sat on the curb crying into your doll lashes, other men had to turn away. Still you blame us, cold fish women. You stick your tongue in empty baggies, search for residue. Something that once felt good leaves you with only a sleeping bag in a cold alley. It's seduction stronger than mine, my pampered foot in your mouth. Can't you see? No one wants eyes like that. They belong on velvet paintings, on third world faces, empty bowls for flies to drink. We need shades to look into the burn. But you don't call it high unless it's mainlined, even if your mouth is so dry I can hear the sound a room away, membrane minus the mucus, leather mouth jacket. That look is a sign on your back. Kick me, please. I understand if I'm the bad guy, Speed can be the good cop, and I refuse to put that fat suit on. So I'll read you my list poem from Tomas's class way back when. I don't know if he's there. Girl cuffed. Cuffed, red spray-painted pants. Cuffed, red spray paint hands, extra large drunk girl hiding behind extra small bush. Even my friends laughed at me. Picked up from Park Street Station, shamefaced and hanging over. Cuffed to the dumpster in the back of Cala Foods. Drunk again, I threw a ham in my flight jacket. Cuffed to 15 underage hands, a human chain snaking out and down, cold ass on concrete in the parking lot next to the On Broadway. In the paddy wagon, they rifled through my girlfriend's bag of stolen lingerie in Seagram 7. Lucky girl, she'd been in the bathroom when the fire marshal and the cops came backstage. Cuffed downtown, security followed us from Macy's to Market Street. They threatened us with grand theft, called us malicious, and posted our cute bad girl Polaroids. Cuffed on a Market Street island, I fought Ross's security and a traffic cop, dropping my swollen bags of loot. They called it assault and theft. I was no longer a minor. Cuffed in a paddy wagon from North Station to 850, watching a junkie kick the doors till actually, miraculously, the door bent and he slipped out wafer thin onto littered Tenderloin streets to his next fix. Still can't fucking believe that. Cuffed, face down, cheek on the yellow line, shotguns at my head, Cadillac Seville smoking behind me. Cuffed in Fillmore, perp walked past my ex's rear window, bullet cases everywhere. All the neighbors said it was a big white girl. Cuffed behind my 66 Impala, pukey juniper, citrus smell of spilled gin and juice. Walked heel to toe, counted fingers backwards until a second car pulled up flashing G.I. Joe with a breathalyzer. Cuffed at the bottom of the stairs when the beer-soaked cop loosened his headlock on my kicking body. I hit the stairs running straight into the waiting squad car. Police radios blaring, catch the girl in green. Cuffed on a frigid night in reverse, avoiding a roadblock on the Beltway, stripped of license and car, cursing frozen clouds, rip-throwing the pile of tickets, all that cold walk home. Cuffed in my living room, smart-ass cop trying to hustle me out in my socks. Still public enemy number one over a noise warrant. Sadly. So, Ocean Beach, Babylon, for Brad, who passed away 2 years ago. When I stopped doing drugs, my friends were just getting started, fighting in their underwear over needles and dope in the light of our front door. From the top of the stairs, I scream at them to shut the fuck up. I worked all night on phone sex lines and I'm just trying to sleep. Brad screams back, calls me a bitch, says it's no wonder that my boyfriend beat the shit out of me. A nigger, that's what he calls me. His face a mask of dope and sickness. I'm already down. My boyfriend just stomped me into the ground while saying he loved me. I don't speak to Brad for 10 years. He goes, no, it wasn't 10. He goes to jail, then prison, violates parole every 18 months and spends close to a decade behind bars. I forgive and live, but I never forget. That early morning scuffle on the stairs, how quickly he turned on me. Me trying to keep it all together, rent paid and the phone on. Brad was once my best friend. He was even a boyfriend. Stood on his tiptoes the first time we kissed at a party. His girlfriend scared of me, the big skinhead girl. We were thrown down 2 flights of stairs by the bouncers for drinking straight from the keg and stealing the donations. We left his girlfriend at the party and got stung by bees hiding from the cops in Golden Gate Park. Fucked on the roof of Chinese projects, staring drunkenly over the 12-story edge. Defying gravity in the cold, we tried to sleep up there. Made it home on the bus where he lived with me till he went back to juvenile hall. When he escaped, he went with my best friend, but it was cool. He was one of us. He went out with all of us over the years. At parties, me or him always got in a fight, swinging through the crowd to the other side. We were 86 from everywhere. We shared blonde hair, high cheekbones, and something that ate at us from the inside out. 6 years after the stairs, Brad called me up. Said he'd heard I wanted to talk but couldn't believe it. He was an ex-con, tattooed dirty white boy across his back. From segregation back to our yellow crew of half-black and Chinese babies. I always dated black guys, had even left him for one. I never knew where that left us, except friends, because he had to do what he had to do on the inside, and I understood that, sort of. We got together, went out to the beach, sat on the wall drinking and telling stories. History ate at us like the waves ate the sand. At nightfall, bonfires lit the beach. We were sure we'd find the heads and parties of our past. Instead, the clumps of bodies we eased into were dry, fire-warmed faces grilling hot dogs, popping sodas. Church groups invited us to join. Back in the day, it would have been sunset pods, headbangers, or skins lighting up the beach, scattering from cops' searchlight. Our adventures had been stolen and replaced with squeaky clean church folk. It was tragic and scary, or maybe we were. Maybe they invited us to church because our asses needed to be saved. Nothing to hold you down on Market Street. Between bus stops, you realize you don't have a home. Some days you walk the sparkly sidewalks blind with sadness as useless as all the other trash blowing along in the violent Pacific air. Outdoor fuchsia trees and aloe lose their magic, just overgrown houseplants that have gone astray, like you. The fog is not romantic. It enters your bones cold, ends the lie that is California. This is a city you needed, you jonesed for, and there's no home to go back to. No quaint New England bed of spindle and patchwork. This is it. But nothing holds you here. The mates you pick bob around the ring. You try to beat them into needing you. You punch them in the nose with your little girl fist. You kick and feed them your icky bits. You want to force them to hold you, safe as mother arms in the night. Again and again you wake alone. Every day a hangover, even when you're too bored to drink, too tired to 12-step. Some people have things they went to school for, things that pay them or require them. Children, careers, foreign words. You only wanted love. You'll only kill it when it's given. Feels like putting on someone else's clothes. You can't fit into it, are too malnourished to swallow it. Need something stronger to keep you from falling off, right off this quaky edge of continent. All you can do is walk and walk, let the muni bus pass your broke ass by. Thumbs up my 20s. The funny thing is, I thought about hugging you this morning, how your stocky body fills my arms, and that maybe if I squeezed hard, you'd be okay. Just okay. Just not broken anymore, an aching, abandoned boy, bones shifting around unhappily under all that muscle, all that sunshine I used to call your skin. It does light a room. But maybe that was hunger illuminating your man shell. Wiser women would have run, but I wanted to touch it. Feel the warmth of your pliable insides, all those guts your mother twisted up, mixing your batter till your idealism and revulsion for women was all syrupy like regurgitated Robitussin, burning on the way out, but sweet, I mean, damn. Most of us are ridiculous enough to enjoy adoration. We just never understand the price of it. I was your pop star, dirtying my reluctant pedestal, you sticking cameras in my face, tripping me up with questions and broadcasting my failures all over the place. I didn't want to be part of your slippery image. 1 minute you're a good girl, the next a loose woman. I see now how you were turned to an object, a babysitter masturbating on you, a mother who threw you away. I get it, how you need to fuck on top, so as not to suffocate. I do too, for the same crushed down reasons. Mooning over you, boo. Nights like these, we see the same full moon, yours between 6 palms, waving silver in 2 neat rows. A neighborhood I have no hope of affording, feel too noisy and large for when I speed through in my base-heavy ride. My moon smiles yellow between buildings, subsidized and working class at best. Here in the flatlands, we wake to the smash and grab, sidewalk diamonds, rear window glass, gunfire pop, and helicopter hover. But hey, this is where I am, and when I sit in the back with the birds and my dogs, I don't aspire to much more. I get it, how quiet it is at your place, how we can sleep with the door open and every little cat fight brings a head from a manicured door. The moon understands these are just neighborhoods, places where we sleep. The moon sees us for the young fools we still are. Sure, we have the trappings of adulthood, the responsible steel-toe boots you kick around in, my bluff talk of mortgages and good school districts. The moon knows we are still those kids, the scared ones, boning under whiskey's influence, not really knowing why we go through the act, strangers in our own skin, pressing costumed bodies together, leather jackets and flights, coats that come with identity, or so we hope. And this goes on into the moonlight of our 40s, scared to death of just asking for what we want. Let's just read one little quick one and we'll wrap it up. Spirit in the Dark. I spent Saturday night playing songs on YouTube, Sunday morning songs in the car. I've blown a speaker, leaving a sad, cheap growl where the bass ought to be. The songs I replay sing to tears, modern versions of those that rose from fields, sprouting wings, soaring off over the big house, over the Atlantic. Call it heaven, call it home. The intangible moment when the one you desire desires you, meets you in cottony skies, naked but for your wings. Wet pearls, a first kiss on top of the roller coaster. One bright morning when this life is over, I'll fly away.